But then, because of the plea agreement and because of his decision to confess to the crime, the matter's gone on rather quickly, rather smoothly. He's now been sentenced to an effective 2 life sentences, as well as 2 years each for the kidnapping and contravention of the Immigration Act. But because the sentences will run concurrently, it is an effective life sentence.
Well, let's speak about the reaction in the court. I just want to play some audio that you have posted on X of the reaction in the courtroom when that sentence was handed down. So, Komotso, speak us through that audio and that reaction that was in the courtroom today.
Of course, Mandy. So if you listen closely, you can hear some members of the community saying you will never rest. They're going to do to you what you've done to this child, and what you've experienced over the last few months is nothing compared to what awaits you in prison. And that's the wish that the community members have expressed for Simiao, saying they wish that he too is violated in the way that he had violated 6-year-old Amandle. And I do think that in the judgment that came from Judge Karam, he detailed how Simiao didn't give enough details about what happened really, and that has left the family with more questions than answers, Mandy. We also heard Judge Karam saying there's a difference between regret and remorse, and it seems that he was more sorry for himself than he was sorry about committing the crime or the crime that he committed. And so that's why the court did not deviate from the minimum prescribed sentence. But yes, community members are really happy about the sentence that's been handed down, and they do hope that this will send a strong message to other rape accused and rapists out there.
I do have a question here. I don't know if you'll know the answer to this, but because, as I understand, he was in the country illegally, does he get deported now, or does he stay in prison for life sentences?
I don't have the answer for that, Mandy. However, what I do know from previous cases I've covered is that I have seen people that have been convicted of the violation of the Immigration Act serving their full sentences here in South Africa and then afterwards being deported. However, with regards to Simiao, I'm not sure.
Sorry to put you on the spot. I don't know the answer to that question either. If somebody can help us, I'll try and get that answer for all of you as well, because I know this is going to come up. He was in the country illegally. He was also being convicted on the contravention of the Immigration Act. He's going to be serving life sentences. So does he stay in our prisons, or does he get deported? As I understand, he's from Mozambique initially. So I'll try and get clarity on that one for you, because I think it is important to know about what would happen here. I imagine he would be deported, right? In some kind of cooperation with the Mozambican government. If you have thoughts on that, please send me a WhatsApp voice note, 072-7021-702, 072-567-1567.
Good day, Mandy. Good day, Mandy. Yes, I'm very, very happy to hear that the suspect has been sentenced to life imprisonment for killing that daughter and raping her. I think this thing should be a lesson to his brothers out there that the similar crime he committed doesn't pay, and then people like him, they must rot in jail. I think justice has been served to the family of the little kid, and may her soul rest in peace. It's all out here, I'm in Tembisa.
Real growth needs more than just banking, and Nedbank Commercial Banking is your growth partner. Their team of industry experts understand your business and its potential, offering insight to help you see opportunity where others see obstacles. Because when you can see what others don't, you can do what others can't. Think bigger. Think Nedbank Commercial Banking. See money differently. Nedbank is a licensed FSP and registered credit provider. T's and C's apply.
Are you looking for the best savings on spectacles? At Specsavers, enjoy 1,500 Rand off when you get tested at South Africa's trusted and most established optical group. Get 1,500 Rand off all frames in store, or use your 1,500 Rand off on our leading lens enhancements, such as drive light lenses that reduce artificial glare whilst driving. Book online or call your nearest store today. Affordable eye care, Specsavers. T's and C's apply.
PG Glass Repair, PG Glass Replace.
Hi, I'm Komoto, PG Glass Technician and winner of Belron's 2024 Best Repair Technician. If clarity is clear to see, that's what we're all about, keeping your windscreen clear from chips and cracks. And if we must replace, we fit only the best windscreens. Shutterproof, that's PRUFE.
Get to PG Glass today for quality, reliability and peace of mind. Call 0860 030303 today.
To walk the talk is to turn words into meaningful actions. And it's what we at 702 are committed to doing every day. We are also committed to following the rules set out by the Broadcasting Complaints Commission's Code of Conduct to give you balanced programming, fair comments, and accurate news. But if we stumble along the way and you feel we are not living up to the code, let us know on comment@702.co.za. And if after that you're still not happy, you can direct your complaint in writing to the Broadcasting Complaints Commission. Email bccsa@nabsa.co.za. For more, visit bccsa.co.za.
WhatsApp Mandy
On 072 702 1702.
Hi, Mandy. Sporting wise, I think for me the shock is 3 former Man United coaches have been fired. Ole Gunnar Solskjaer, Jose Mourinho, now Erik ten Hag.
Good afternoon, Mandy. Thanks for the show. I'm disappointed to never mention Sundowns. Well, we also won. We are chasing the very killer Chiefs we're talking about. Okay, thank you, Mandy. Thanks for the nice show. Bye.
Forgive me. Masan Luana, I'm so sorry I didn't mention you. But of course, Pirates won, Chiefs won. Keith, yeah, what a weekend. Our Springbok women won, Liverpool won as well. Man United, thanks to an own goal and a controversial last penalty. Oh yeah, Spurs was also chowed by a wolf. Thanks, Keith. That's really nice of you. Appreciate it. There was a reason I didn't mention. And then also somebody pointing out here, hi, Mandy, we are besotted with British football and not proudly South African. I mean, I talk about South African football a lot. That our news outlets have insufficient time and space to celebrate our 8-team cricket victory over New Zealand. We are playing them today again in Pretoria. Brian, thank you very much for sending that through.
702, the Midday Report, Monday to Friday.
12 to 1 p.m.
It feels like Lillian and Goy Street in the Joburg CBD has been closed for an age. The old Bree Street, of course, there was that underground gas explosion in 2023. They've spent almost 200 million rand in fixing that road. Obviously, it's a crucial artery for taxis through the city of Joburg. So today, there is an official opening taking place with the mayor of Joburg, Dada Morero. Alpha Ramashwana, EWN reporter, is there for us. Alpha, good afternoon to you. Thanks for your time. Tell us about what's been happening there and why has this taken so long?
Good afternoon, Mandy. Well, the city of Johannesburg has been fixing the Bree Street for over 2 years now, and it's taken long because there's been disputes with contractors. And sometime last year, the city of Johannesburg had to terminate the contract of one of the contractors because of some disputes at the time. And a new company was then appointed last year, and it's been leading these the reconstruction of Lillian Goy Street ever since early last year. And today we came to Bree Street with the mayor of Johannesburg, and we were under the impression, Mandy, that the road would be reopened to traffic today. But when we got here, the mayor was merely announcing that phase 1 of the project has been completed. That phase deals with fixing the road, relaying the road, resurfacing the road, and replacing the underground pipes. That has been completed. But despite it being completed, the road won't be open to traffic today. The mayor says only on the 12th of September will motorists begin to enjoy Lillian Goy Street once again after more than 2 years. So we're under the impression that it would be open today, but there's still construction machinery, construction containers are still here. So there's a lot that they need to do before they can still reopen that road. Let's take a listen to what the mayor had to say about the delays in reopening the road.
So it's not a delay now. We wanted to launch it on the 1st to say we've completed the work. It's just minor issues that have to be done. On the 12th, you can come and drive. You can come walk. You can open your businesses. There's a whole lot of things that you'll be able to do. Businesses are already operational, some of them, as of today. So we think that we have met the target that we have set ourselves.
We've met the target, but the road's not open and we're still fixing it. Alpha, let me just make sure I understand this. So they called the media there to have a reopening of a road they are not reopening, but they're going to reopen in 2 weeks' time, but there's still construction. Is that right?
Correct. I mean, the first thing that I noticed when I got here, Mandy, was that they were still, the construction nets, the green construction nets were still all over Lilian Street in Johannesburg CBD. The containers, construction containers, are still on the road, which means there's no way that, motorists can use this road at all. We were sent a media advisory last week and were told that they are reopening the road today, only to arrive here, and they're telling us that they've completed the work, but there's just some minor touch-ups that they need to do. Those touch-ups, I'm actually looking at a pavement that is still in the process of being installed here. There are taxi bus stops actually that are also being constructed. So there's a number of things that the city of Johannesburg still has to do, including street signs and painting the road. So it's going to take them, I guess, another 12 days to officially finish
realistically,
everything.
and I understand that I'm not sure if you have a background in construction. I doubt it somewhat. But to your layman's eye, do you believe that in 12 days' time that project will be finished?
I mean, we heard from Solim Simanga, who was saying if this thing is completed by the given time frame, he would give his left kidney. So I think there's no need for Solim Simanga to give his left kidney anymore, seeing that there are delays, which the mayor doesn't want to frame as delays. But I mean, I'm standing right here, Mandy. There are construction machines all over the place, construction material all over the place. It doesn't look like something that can take 12 days to fix. Let's take a listen to what the mayor had to say about possibilities of another underground gas explosion in Johannesburg.
As I said, the reason we moved to that is to have the nice and feel of the road, to change it, make it more nicer, make it accessible to pedestrian, to motorists and everybody, so that it's not only acceptable or friendly to motorists. That is why we said it's better we do it this way. And I think our engineers, technicians and everybody are convinced that we'll probably not have an explosion. They've ensured whatever pipes and infrastructure underneath. They've also restored the tunnels that are there underneath. So everything we think underneath is proper now, and hopefully we'll not experience an explosion into the future.
Guys, this story gets better and better. So probably not. Hopefully we won't experience another explosion. There's no absolutes there at all. And what is the point of calling the media there if they haven't actually opened the road? Like, why are they doing this? It's outrageous. It's ludicrous. And they're taking us for a joke, an absolute joke. They've taken 2 years to fix this busy artery in the Joburg CBD. It is essential for the economy to work. And it's taken them 2 years, and now they're trying to convince us that there are no delays, when there are clearly delays. It's an absolute joke.
The Outsurance pointsmen know that every car on the road carries a story. There's a car with a couple stealing glances at each other. In a week, their lives will change forever as they exchange their I-do's. The Outsurance pointsmen know it's not just a car in traffic, it's a love story on the move. Every story is different and every story matters. That's why the Outsurance pointsmen have been doing what they do since 2005 in proud partnership with 702. Outsurance is a licensed insurer and FSP.
Here at Betway, we're finding every way possible to make sure you can win your next sports bet. With our new Bet Saver feature, you could get your stake back or more on bets with multiple losses. Stand to win, even when your bet misses. Bet Saver, exclusive to Betway. Terms and conditions apply. Betway is licensed and regulated by the Western Cape Gambling and Racing Board. No persons under the age of 18 are permitted to gamble. South African Responsible Gambling Program toll-free counseling line 0800 006 008 or WhatsApp help to 076 675 0710. Winners know when to stop.
One festival, endless flavor, and 2 unforgettable days of timeless music. The DSTV Delicious International Food and Music Festival, powered by Lotto Star, returns on 20 and 21 September at Kyalami Grand Prix Circuit. On Saturday, the stage erupts with Don Tolliver, Questa, and Nkabi Zezwe. Then on Sunday, experience the legendary Lauryn Hill, Wyclef Jean, Lyra, and more. The DSTV Delicious Festival, powered by Lotto Star. Tickets at Ticketmaster.
12:30, time for Eyewitness News headlines.
Thanks, Mandy. Good afternoon. The man convicted of the rape and murder of 6-year-old Amandla Samane has been handed 2 life sentences. 25-year-old pacey pleaded guilty to violating the child in October last year in his shack in Orlando East in Soweto. He also pleaded guilty to murdering her, saying it was to conceal the rape. Some frustrated Coronationville residents are once again protesting against the lack of water. Community members say they've been without supply for more than 3 weeks now. Households, businesses and healthcare centres have for years contended with water cuts in Coronationville. And the city of Johannesburg has so far spent 82 million rand on rebuilding Lilian Street in the inner city. More than 2 years after it was damaged by an underground gas explosion, repairs to the road have finally been completed. But despite this, the street will only be reopened to traffic later this month. Those are the headlines. This EWN and more at 1 or as it happens.
EWN Sport.
Good afternoon, I'm Tolagile Mganga. We start in the Premier League where Liverpool remain top of the standings following their 1-0 win over Arsenal, while they're reportedly set to boost their attacking force by signing Alexander Isak from Newcastle. In the Betway Premiership, there were wins for the league's big 3 on a weekend that saw Peter Shalulile becoming the PSL's all-time goal scorer with 130 strikes. Orlando Pirates have moved up to 5th following their 3-0 win over Chippa United. And with the MTN 8 final next up, Adeslam Wadu has discussed how his plans are being interrupted, with him losing 7 players while Stellenbosch don't have any called up for national team duty.
It's the life of the big clubs and we have to deal with that. We have to manage that. We don't have anything to do about that. Just encourage our players. I hope they will give the best for their country, for the national team. It's very important. I was a few years ago international player. They know how it's important to play for their country. And we will manage that. We don't have any choice.
You can't help yourself.
I couldn't help it. I'm sorry.
Imagine his coach is sulking.
A whole 7 Pagania players.
Yes.
All 7. That's like 70% of the team.
But weren't you guys always complaining that there's not enough Pirates players in the Bafana team?
How many Chiefs players, Palesa and Tolagele?
Anyway, Bayer Leverkusen have fired Erik ten Hag after 2 Bundesliga matches in charge. He was fired by Manchester United last October and joined Leverkusen as Xabi Alonso's successor back in July. His sacking now means he has the unwanted record of the shortest Bundesliga coaching tenure, breaking the previous mark of 5 matches. And McLaren's Oscar Piastri has downplayed his 34-point lead in the Formula One Championship as he insists he still doesn't feel comfortable. The Australian took his 7th win in 15 races to forge further ahead of closest title rival and teammate Lando Norris, who retired from the Dutch Grand Prix with a smoking car. Tolagile Mganga, Eyewitness News Sport.
EWN Traffic.
Well, at this stage, if you're heading into El Dorado Park, there's roadworks in the Devland area causing heavy delays on the Golden Highway. This is between the N1 and Union Avenue. Also heading in and out of the Joburg CBD, expect some delays on Main Reef Road. This is between Production and Anderson approaching Church Street due to faulty traffic lights. If you're in the Mother City, we still have that accident scene. This is on the N2 inbound approaching the ramp onto Robert Sabuku Drive. That road is closed off to traffic, so please find alternative routes. And roadworks also causing heavy delays on the N2 outbound. This is after Baden Powell Drive. If you come across any other traffic issues, please SMS us on 31702.
There's more EWN on air, online, and on the EWN app.
WhatsApp Mandy
on 072 702 1702.
Good afternoon, ladies. This is Ronnie from Fourways. Actually, talking about the guy who have been sentenced to life. No, he won't be deported. Actually, he will have to serve the sentence in South African jail. And then after that, as soon as he's done with his sentence, if he's still alive, then he will get deported. Ronnie from Voice.
Joburg Mayor, what an absolute joke. We set ourselves the goal of the 1st of September to reopen the road. And there hasn't been a delay, but we're only going to open on the 12th of September because there's still work to be done. And we think we achieved the target we set for ourselves. We think, well, you're not aware of the fact that today is the 1st of September and you're not opening. What a bunch of clowns.
Also, don't forget, we hope it's not going to blow up again, and we think it probably won't. These guys are straight out lying to us. Don't forget, there's a local government election coming next year, and that's why we're seeing this happening. On that first voice note, yes, you are correct. I was drilling into my mind, and I thought, for example, the Radovan Krejcir case, which is a case that I covered very closely. He is a Czech national, but he was in the country legally. Whereas this individual that was convicted was in the country illegally. So I thought maybe if he was in the country illegally, he would get deported and not serve his sentence here. But I need to check this with the authorities. But thank you for sending through that WhatsApp voice note.
The Midday Report with Mandy Wiener on 702 and Cape Talk is brought to you by Nedbank Commercial Banking. See money differently.
The Gauteng MEC for Education, Sports, Arts, Culture and Recreation, I'm sure that title's gotten much longer than it used to be. Matoma Chilwane is visiting the Ulra Park Primary School in Nigel in Ekurhuleni following recent disruptions that have affected learners and teaching at that school, looking to engage the school community and address the challenges behind the disruptions. Jabulile Mbata, EWN reporter, is there for us. Jabulile, good afternoon to you. Just remind us, what were these disruptions and why was schooling affected at this particular school?
Good afternoon, Mandy. So the learners and the community of Ulra Park took to the streets last week protesting because of the aging infrastructure of the school. So what also aggravated the situation is that in recent times there was a staff member who got injured at work because of the aging infrastructure. So learners decided to protest. They did not go to school for 3 weeks, and they were calling for the MEC to come and address them, to tell them how he's going to assist them.
Okay, so what exactly is the MEC doing there, and what's the reception been like?
So we've got a lot of community members who were here to hear what the MEC was going to say, and he has made a very big promise, Mandy, saying that in 18 months, the Ulra Park Primary School will be rebuilt. So there will be a new school, and it should be completed in 18 months. He's made that promise to the community members, who are very happy to hear that. But in the interim, he's saying there will be minor repairs to the infrastructure of the school, which includes an addition of mobile classrooms, just the paving, and making sure that there's electricity in the school. So while those two things will happen at the same time, while they are doing those short-term repairs, they will also start making sure they build a new school.
Jabulile, thank you very much. Jabulile Mbata, EWN reporter, speaking to us there about that visit taking place by the MEC visiting Ulra Park Primary School following disruptions there last week.
702.
The Midday Report with Mandy Wiener.
Let's walk the talk.
So I'm getting all outraged about what's been happening on Lillian and Ngoy Street, or the old Bree Street, and the fact that it's taken so long to reopen. It was supposed to reopen today, but now it hasn't actually been reopened because they're still busy, and they're saying that it's going to reopen on the 12th of September. At the same time, Solly Msimanga, the leader of the Democratic Alliance in Gauteng, has said he'll give his left kidney. Was it left or right? He'll give his kidney if that road actually reopens on time. And then you think about an incident, for example, like what happened in Boxburg in December 2022. That's almost 3 years ago as well. And now, 3 years on, families and survivors of that explosion have filed a 65 million rand lawsuit against 3 entities that they believe are responsible for what they've called a preventable tragedy. Tabiso Goba, EWN reporter, has been out speaking to those families and to the lawyers as well. Tabiso joins us now. Tabiso, good afternoon to you. Thank you for your time. Tell us about what is happening in Boxburg 3 years on.
Good afternoon, Mandy. Well, as you know, there was that big explosion when a gas truck carrying about 6,000 liters of highly flammable gas got stuck under a low-lying bridge. 41 people died, but also many more people got injured. And I think one of the interesting things is that, Mandy, 41 people died, about 25 people got like life-altering injuries. These are people who can't breathe properly. They have burnt marks. They are disabled. All kinds of injuries that actually can change how you actually exist as a person. And 3 years on, Mandy, there's been no arrest, there's been no prosecutions, no fines, or even any sort of compensation either to the families of the deceased victims or even to the people who actually survived those incidents, but now actually have to deal with the medical bills, but also may have lost their jobs. Some people may have also even lost some breadwinners during that explosion. And so, obviously, as you said, that a 65 million rand lawsuit has been filed, but we've just been speaking to just some of the plaintiffs. We've spoken to a mother who, Rose Mashaba, she's a retired teacher. She lost 3 of her sons there and of her children there, and those were children who were actually supporting her. There was a gentleman we spoke to, Mr. Geraldo Gedood. He lost both his wife and son. He's since left Boxburg and he's moved to the Eastern Cape because he can't afford, or not necessarily can't afford, but he can't bear to actually stay in this area where he lost so much. But we also spoke to Rosetta Brits, Mandy. Rosetta Brits lost 4 of her minor children during that incident. She's also part of the plaintiffs that are actually seeking compensation from these 3 entities. And just take a listen to just her recalling those moments during that incident. This is Rosetta Brits.
My daughter was lying between the street and the sidewalk. Called her, she started moving, but I couldn't see her face. Then I said to her, Jamal, I'm here. I'm just looking where your brothers and then I went a little bit further, then I saw my son-in-law. He was gone on scene. And then I went back to her. I said, Jamal, I'm still here. I'm just looking where's your brother. Then I called Sebastian. Then the one boy on the grass moved. And then he said, Mommy, take me home. And he had an anger issue. If you don't listen on his moods, he gets cross. Then I said to him, Sebastian, yeah. And then that one ambulance guy took him over by me. Then I went over back where my daughter was lying. Then they threw her already closed. Then I said to her, don't close her, she's alive. Sorry if I start crying. Then she said to me, no, she blew her last breath now. Then I said, no, don't tell me she's gone. Then he said, no, she is gone.
Oh, Tabiso, that's absolutely heartbreaking. You spent time with these victims, their families as well. What is the sense in that community? Is it still? Are there still visible anything visible from what happened? Obviously, the emotional scars will remain for a long, long time still.
Yes, 100%. I mean, we were talking about Bree Street in terms of projects that take very long to finish. That bridge that actually blew up, where the truck actually blew up, that is still under construction as we speak. So that road hasn't been opened yet. But in terms of those houses that were affected, you can still see some burnt marks. Now, if you remember that I spoke about Rose Mashaba, a retired teacher, we went to her house, and you could actually see some smoke on her ceiling, and those walls that used to be white are now black. And because she lost 3 of her children that were actually supporting her, she no longer has any money to actually, keep up the house. And because she's retired and is a pensioner, all that money goes to food. So there are those visible scars, even from survivors that we spoke about who had life-altering injuries. So there are those scars, there are those visible memories when you see that dilapidated bridge that's still under construction. So for that community in Boxburg, they're always reminded of that tragedy and what they actually lost during that day on the 24th of December, 2022.
Tabiso, thank you so much. Tabiso Gorba, EWN reporter. He's been spending time in Boxburg speaking to the families, the survivors of the Boxburg explosion. They've now filed a 65 million rand lawsuit against 3 entities. And just listening to this, firstly, that could have been prevented, that incident that occurred. And it's the city that they have named as one of the respondents as well. And then you draw that parallel to what's happening in Bree Street. And it's just infuriating at what is happening and how slow the progress is. Paulo says, hi Mandy, on the Lilian Ngoyi issue, Dada Morero should shorten his name to Dad Morero as a mayor of a large metro. He's a joke. Thanks for a great show. Thanks, Paulo. And then good afternoon, 702 with Mandy. I always think the ANC thinks we're all kids, but calling journalists for opening a road that's not opened, they think we are cartoons. Popeyes, can't we bring national elections closer? We just had one, so that those who were sleeping and thinking ANC is the best party can wake up and vote better this time. And then, hi Mandy. Oh, no, we don't want to eat steak and kidney pie. Not appropriate. And then lots of other messages as well, some of which I cannot read on the radio, but thanks for sending them for my entertainment anyway.
WhatsApp Mandy
on 072 702 1702.
Hi Mandy, this Lilian Ngoyi Road opening disaster. I fear that this is what's going to happen with the G20. These Ria Vayas that are being built, these roads that are up for constructions, the mess that is in Sandton, I think it will still be there when the G20 happens. Watch this space. I hope I'm wrong.
Good morning, Mandy. Shame, man. Be kind on these people. They're on their way out, Mandy. They don't have time to effectively manage the projects of repairing Lilian Ngoyi and all the responsibilities that they should have done. They don't have the time. These are their last days. They're on their way out. They need to steal as much as they can. Hector in Midrand.
Real growth needs more than just banking, and Nedbank Commercial Banking is your growth partner. Their team of industry experts understand your business and its potential, offering insight to help you see opportunity where others see obstacles. Because when you can see what others don't, you can do what others can't. Think bigger. Think Nedbank Commercial Banking. See money differently. Nedbank is a licensed FSP and registered credit provider. T's and C's apply.
This September, Joburg Theatre brings you a powerful mix of drama, music, and dance. Dancing the Death Drill, adapted from Fred Khumalo's acclaimed novel, tells the tale of Pito Mutaung, a South African soldier forever changed by the tragic sinking of the SS Mandy. The cast features Kwenzo Ngobo, Tuli Tabete, and Clint Brink, with choreography by Luyanda Sidia and original music by Msaki. This is a story of love, loss, and remembrance. Catch it from 9 to 28 September 2025 on the Mandela stage at Joburg Theatre. Dancing the Death Drill, a moment in history brought to life. Book now at joburgtheatre.com.
The Outsurance pointsmen know that every car on the road carries a story. There's a car with a couple stealing glances at each other. In a week, their lives will change forever as they exchange their I-do's. The Outsurance pointsmen know it's not just a car in traffic, it's a love story on the move. Every story is different and every story matters. That's why the Outsurance pointsmen have been doing what they do since 2005 in proud partnership with 702. Outsurance is a licensed insurer and FSP.
WhatsApp Mandy
on 072 702 1702.
Hi, Mandy.
Good afternoon. In terms of the law, if somebody come to South Africa without documents or illegal immigration person, what's happened is that this person, after being convicted, then he must serve the sentence within the republic, and then after then be deported to the country. I think it's Illegal Immigration Act. Yeah, that's specified that after serve the sentence, then he must be deported back to his country.
Hi, Mandy. Good afternoon. This is just a tick box exercise that the mayor of the city of Johannesburg is doing. So Lim Simang said this will not be delivered on time. And that's exactly that. So today they are just doing a tick box exercise. We are opening, but there's nothing to open because the road will be only accessible after 12 days. Tick box exercise, trying to meet the deadline that they could not meet, and they are also not meeting now. Poor management.
Thank you very much. On that point about the G20, I mean, Sandton is a full-on construction site, which I'm okay with if it's going to mean an improved rear via system. And we know that 1 trillion rand is being spent on construction in the country to get the economy moving. I mean, a large portion of that I'm sure will be siphoned off to the coffers of others. But I'm encouraged by the construction because it means improvement. But whether it will be finished in time for the G20 somehow, I don't know. I think that they want to give the appearance that everything's fine, so they'll fix the things that matter, but not the real fundamentals, not the actual infrastructure. Well, speaking of the G20, the chairperson of the Portfolio Committee on International Relations and Cooperation, Supra Mahumapelo, has been with the South African Liaison Office holding a virtual media briefing on the colloquium on the people's expectations. What are your expectations of South Africa's G20 presidency? Babalo Ndenze, EWN reporter on that one for us. Babalo, good afternoon to you. Talk us through what was said in this briefing today.
Yes, indeed, Mandy, more G20 stuff, but from a parliamentary perspective and an oversight perspective. Supra Umapilo, the chairperson of that DIRCO Portfolio Committee briefing, on the Southern African Liaison Office briefing with the committee on the colloquium on people's expectations for South African G20 presidency. And it's deemed, a conversation with non-state actors. SALO, or this liaison office, Southern African Liaison Office, is one of these non-state actors that Supra Umapilo is referring to, that they'll be working closely to as the country, prepares for this leadership summit G20. And he says basically, SALO as a non-state actor that they're working with, plays a pivotal role in matters of geopolitics. And the committee is also now, focusing on this G20. The Portfolio Committee came to a decision, to do oversight, as part of its oversight, to have a colloquium, which is taking place quite soon, jointly hosted by the committee and SALO. And, they will be discussing with a lot of role players and people involved in the G20. He also touched on some of the preparations for G20, saying that they are very happy with the extent of the country's preparations, sector consolidation meetings that are currently happening. There's also the P20, which is the parliamentary, leg of the G20, which the Speaker of the National Assembly is spearheading. That's also, the preparations for that are also coming along very well, according to the chairperson, Umapelo. And he's basically also giving, some details around a weekly podcast that this committee wants to lead, to discuss matters of geopolitics or these topical issues happening around the world and not just on the continent. So he's basically saying Parliament, Mandy, is more than ready now for this colloquium, and the country as a whole is more than ready to host the G20 leadership summit later on this year, Mandy.
Babalo, thank you very much. Babalo Ndenze, EWN reporter. We're ready, we're ready, but are we really ready? And I think that's where the people's expectations come in. Sandton's certainly not ready if you drive around it. The Joburg CBD is certainly not ready if you take a drive around it. So I don't know how they can say that we're ready. I mean, Parliament Parliament's not ready. They're still rebuilding Parliament. Sorry. I forgot about that for a minute. It's all just a joke, really.
Sports Wrap.
Sports Wrap.
On 702 and Cape Talk.
Let's talk about sport, shall we? We're always ready for the sport. And let me correct myself because I forgot to mention Sundowns earlier. Chiefs, Pirates and Sundowns all won their matches in the Betway Premiership. Mwanda Mateza, welcome to the studio. A good week for the big clubs.
Yeah, good afternoon, Mandy. And it's a good way to end off the first little bit of the season, heading into the FIFA international break now. And I think it augurs well for a very good title race this season. And funny enough, as well as all of those teams played, Sekhukhune United are still at the top of the table after their victory over the weekend as well. But I want to speak about Chiefs just a little bit because they only won 1-0 against Golden Arrows. But it's, I think, a little frightening to see how well they're playing and not scoring those goals.
Palesa, I wish, if you're watching on YouTube, please make sure that you can see Palesa's victory dance.
Yeah, I think it's crazy that Chiefs are still unbeaten. They've only scored about a handful of goals only this season. And I think once they find their rhythm going into the latter stages and possibly after, they come back, the players come back from the international duty, I think Chiefs could be really, really good.
What do you think has made the difference?
I can't put it on one thing. Possibly time. More time with Coach Nasruddin Nabi. I've heard a few players in the press conferences talking about how preseason did them a lot of good, how they gelled together and bonded as a team. So perhaps that is something off the field that has helped them work together and play together when it comes to game time. But yeah, that's certainly what I've heard so far.
And then looking abroad, Liverpool. Oh, shame. I'm sorry. And they've got Isak.
Yeah, funny enough, I don't think they needed that, though. Might as well give them the league. I wasn't going into that match yesterday with any sort of hope or any sort of emotion. I know that Arsenal are on their own high with Eze signing last week and the like, whatever. But yeah, Liverpool at home are not a side that you're going to get the better of too many times. But it was quite interesting to hear our manager Arne Slot talking about how 8 out of 10 times that game would have ended in the draw, and the other 2 times would have been won by one of the other sides each. So very gracious in defeat, which is something that caught me by surprise quite. But yeah, on the whole, a really, really good game of football. I know for the pure people want to see goals and people want to see exciting, entertaining. Yeah, that was so good. Yeah. That was so good. And yeah, like with Isak joining now, I think, yeah, it's a done deal. Might as well give it to Liverpool. Nobody's competing for anything other than second place at this point.
The Springbok women's rugby team was great. I loved watching. They had such passion, such fight, and they've made history.
How crazy were those last 5 minutes and how nervous were you? Because there was a point where the Springbok women were leading at 29 points to 24, which was the final score as well. But they just couldn't seem to score that 1 point that would have got, and they had a penalty, and then instead of going for poles, they went for a scrum, and it just made for a really tense, emotional last 5 minutes. But I think that's what we want at the end of the day. And also just a word on how far the Springbok women team has come in the last 3 years especially. I think very few people remember that between 2012 and 2018, the Springbok women's team basically didn't exist. And you still had players like Nosindiso Boy who'd been there before carrying on. It's such a thankless task sometimes, especially in women's sport, to continue when you don't know that there's going to be a reward at the end of the day. So I'm most especially happy for her that she gets to see this part of Springbok women's rugby as well, where they get to make history, where they get to go into a World Cup quarterfinal. And hopefully this isn't one thing that we'll celebrate years for years to come, that it would be something that is expected and almost consistently expected of the Springbok women's team. So hopefully bigger things.
Who knows? Westerbrain Matt just will be the next Bok coach. Anyway, let's talk about the US Open. Quickly, Ben Shelton's out. He was my pick. It looks like it's going to be Alcaraz Sinner, but quarterfinals. What are your thoughts?
Oh man, I was going for Taylor Fritz, and then I looked at his record against Novak Djokovic, and yeah, I was like, yeah, no, that's not going to happen.
I'll be surprised if Taylor Fritz upsets Djokovic.
I do think that Taylor Fritz has a Grand Slam in him. Probably not this one though.
Are you?
Don't you?
Out of your mind,
Taylor
Mwande.
Fritz. Oh, he
never.
On his best day, he can play with the best of them.
You've just gone all the way down in my estimations.
I really do rate Taylor Fritz. And hopefully...
Like Solly Masimanga, I will give my left kidney if Taylor Fritz wins a Grand
hopefully,
Slam.
this time next week, we'll be saying something different. But I'm looking forward to the women's match tonight between Naomi Osaka and Coco Gauff. I think that's going to be a good one. Naomi Osaka looks a really different player from what we've seen over the last 2 years of her. So I'm really hoping, funny enough, that she pulls through. I think she needs it more than Coco Gauff with all her serving problems and the like.
And then, sorry, we're almost out of time, and I have to make the point that Tristan Lawrence won the European Masters as well.
Yeah, absolutely fantastic. I think he's had probably an underrated season as well. He did quite well in the Open for a couple of the rounds over there. So for him to, I think it's a season ender, to end the season on a high like this probably augurs well for him as well. So hopefully he can continue going into the next one.
Mawande, thank you so much. I could do an entire hour on sport with Mawande. I can't believe you think Taylor Fritz is going to win a Grand Slam. You can get out of my studio now. Thank you very much. Thank you to all of you for listening. Oh my God, I hope he doesn't win the US Open. I'll have to give you my left kidney. The Midday Report with Mandy Wiener on 702 and Cape Talk is brought to you by Nedbank Commercial Banking. Think bigger. Think Nedbank Commercial Banking. It's 1 o'clock.
This is EWN.
Amandla Samane's killer to spend his life behind bars, and Coronationville residents take to the streets over water outages. Good afternoon, I'm Bali Dlamini. Begin with a story which contains some graphic information. The man convicted